Hello everyone, this is Martin and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk a little bit about the inspector tool, the MCP Inspector Tool to be more specific. And what this does basically, it's a super neat tool which both exists for the CLI, for the command line, as well as a graphical user interface. And this is helpful for developers as well as for red teamers, blue teamers, like anyone concerned with security, like myself. And I just want to do a little introduction, like how this tool works and what you can do with it. So if you go to contextprotocol.io, then you can search there for the specific inspector tool. So it has a description, but also like on the GitHub repo. So github.com model context protocol /inspector. And they give you like a pretty good overview of what the tool does, what it's capable. So it's basically for you to dive into the MCP protocol more in depth, right? Like, so you can run the tool, you can play with it, and you can issue commands, so you can interact with it directly, because to a lot of people, it's kind of a black box, like what it actually does and things, especially when you download them from GitHub and things like that. So what I want to show you real quick is just how to run this and how to interact with it. So first and foremost, I have a little MCP service, right? Like, so this is super basic. It's one of my skeletons, which simply spins up an MCP server, which is called demo. And then what it's doing, basically, it's just adding, like there's an MCP tool and it's just adding two numbers, right? Like two user supplied numbers. And I've done a video in the past around this from a security perspective, like how this can be exploited with Claude and stuff like that. But that's not the point today. So today I just want to show you, this is a Python script, right? It's called basic.py. And it sits here locally on my machine. So what I'm going to do now is simply with the npx command, you can basically launch the inspector tool. And that's what I'm going to do right now. And this is all well described on their GitHub and stuff like that. And then it's spinning up, like on your local host, it's spinning up a URL. So I grab this here. Then I head over to my web browser. And in the web browser, I just put this in here. Right, and then that's it. That's basically your starting screen for the MCP inspector. Now here you have like different transport types. So for this demo today, we are doing the stdio, but you can also use like the SSE, for example. So then you basically expose it via API. Right, like, so this is a more common use case, but to keep it simple for today, we are just using the basic stuff. So command, when, and this is, again, this is described on the GitHub repo, but when you want to interact locally, like with a Python script or something like this, so you need to say the command is MCP, and then what I want to do is I want to run the basic.py. So you need to give it a path and stuff like this, but basically I have launched it out of the same directory where this basic py, what I've just shown you, sits. And then you can define environment variables and stuff like that. Like you can extend them, you know, like with API keys and other things, like certain ports you want to use and whatnot. But to keep it simple, so I'm just connecting up to this. And you see, like, it immediately connected up. And now I have the green light here, it says connected. And that also is an indication that the script is working and is doing what it's supposed to do and things like that. So what you can do next is basically you have like your prompts, for example. So there you can list the prompts if there is any prompts. So there's no prompts here at the moment. But this is, as you have seen the script already, this is there should be a tool in there, right? Like, so if I do click on list tools, you see immediately, yes, there is this addition tool. The addition tool I was showing you earlier, which simply adds two numbers, right? And then you can come here and then you can run the tool. So you can interact with it and stuff. And this is super helpful. I mean, this is a basic case, right? But if the MCP services are more complex, you can actually do this here and then provide your user input. So I'm putting 6 and 7, for example, and then I'm running this tool and the result is 13. And then what's interesting is down here, you can basically see how this all works. So there was the initialization first of all and stuff like that, and then server name is demo, which I put in as demo basically. So it does the initialization, then it makes a call to the prompts list, and there's no prompts as you've seen, like we have seen this here in the GUI earlier, and then it looks at the tools. So yes, there's one tool, which is this add tool, which I called add. You have seen the Python script earlier, and then basically add the two numbers. So this is the one. And then basically here it was invoked, right? Like, so this is the actual invocation. So the tools call was invoked, and the arguments which have been supplied by me were 6 and 7. And then the response was 13, right? And there was no error. And so this is just like a super basic overview, but I think this tool has a lot of potential moving forward. Like again, especially for me, from a security angle, super helpful, but also for developers, like when you really want to dissect things and stuff like that. That's all for today. I just wanted to show you the inspector tool. I hope you like it, and I will see you in the next video.